Part 64. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 631. This fierce war ended with the annihilation of the human race's fleet. No fighter planes or warships survived. The entire fleet was completely destroyed in this war. Looking at the battlefield full of wreckage, Wang Feng slowly raised his arm and saluted the fleet that no longer existed. He didn't know any of these dead warriors, and he didn't know if these people were his ancestors. He only knew that no matter who they were, their performance just now had earned his respect. At this time, the human race, whose fleet had been annihilated, had started to move again. Countless spaceships began to take off and land frequently again. However, from the appearance of these spaceships, it can be seen that they are civilian types because they are not equipped with weapons at all. On the outermost planet of the human galaxy, these spaceships landed one after another, and then some people got off the spaceships and dispersed into the planet, while more people stepped on the spaceships and were then sent to the mother planet in the middle by the spaceships. This kind of transportation continued, starting from the outermost part and gradually extending inward. Because of the camera angle, Wang Feng saw it clearly. He even saw that the invader fleet was resting in place when the human race was making such a transfer. Although they won the final victory and destroyed the human race fleet, they also paid a considerable price. The fleet of thousands of warships originally had only over 2,000 warships left, and more than half of them were lost. These warships were mainly destroyed after the human race's small fighter planes launched suicide attacks. After the rest, the invaders' warships did not launch an attack immediately, but remained in place, as if waiting for something. The human race continued to use this opportunity to transfer their own people. Every planet inhabited by humans had spaceships constantly going back and forth, and they left a small number of people on all the planets inhabited by humans. Wang Feng was quite confused about this approach. In his opinion, the human race's warships had been completely lost, and the remaining ones were some spaceships without attack power. It was impossible to resist the invader fleet that was damaged but still had a certain attack power. In this case, the human race should take advantage of the fact that the fleet stayed in place for some reason and did not launch an attack, and quickly evacuate on a large scale. There were so many spaceships that even if they could not take all the people away, at least most of them could be taken away. This was better than staying and defending, right? In addition to concentrating almost all the people on the mother planet, Wang Feng didn't know why the people left on other planets did this. People themselves were the most important. Since they were planning to give up those planets, why did they leave some behind? However, for the situation in front of him, Wang Feng knew that he was actually just a spectator and could not participate in it personally. Moreover, what he saw now should have happened tens of thousands of years ago, and no one could change the outcome here. And when the battle between the two fleets ended, Wang Feng suddenly realized that although he felt that it seemed that only a short time had passed from the time he first saw the mother planet to the destruction of the human fleet and the rest and standby of the invader fleet, if calculated according to the real-time passage of this image, it should have been a long time now. In other words, what Wang Feng saw was a war between humans and invaders that lasted for an unknown period of time. Because this galaxy is quite large, the distance between each life planet is quite far. Although it only takes a dozen seconds for a spacecraft to reach another planet from one planet, it only takes a few minutes at most in Wang Feng's opinion. But the real spacecraft should have flown for several years or even more than 10 years. After all, this is a voyage in the universe, and time is of course measured in years. It's just that this video was made very well, and the speed of time was adjusted appropriately, so Wang Feng didn't react until the end of the war that the images he saw were all accelerated. Wang Feng couldn't be blamed for this. After all, he had always lived on the planet and had never left the planet where he lived. Even now, he was just watching an immersive movie, and he was still in that dark and narrow underwater cave. So he was quite confused about the distance between the planets. It was not until he saw the warships resting and then looked back at the ships transporting people back and forth that he realized it. However, Wang Feng still couldn't tell how long the time span of this image was, so he simply didn't think about it. He just wanted to see what the final outcome of mankind would be and whether the mother planet was finally captured. The fleet in the distance always stayed there and did not launch an attack. When Wang Feng was wondering, he suddenly saw that behind them, another huge fleet was approaching them. Now Wang Feng understood that the invader fleet did not attack immediately after resting, but was waiting for its reinforcements. The new fleet was the same size as the first fleet, and was also composed of thousands of warships. Now the two fleets have merged, and the number of warships has approached 10,000. It's over. Wang Feng thought desperately, although he had guessed the general outcome from the previous battle between the two warships. Because if this war ended with the victory of mankind, then they would not appear on the planet where they live now, and there would be no inexplicable seal in their bodies. However, Wang Feng also knew that although this war ended with the failure of mankind, mankind was not completely extinct in the end. At least one human successfully escaped the encirclement of these warships and arrived at the planet where they are now, and regarded that planet as their new home and continued to reproduce. After the two fleets joined together, they finally began to move towards the galaxy where humans live, and because of the reinforcements, the formation of these warships was very scattered. And after entering the galaxy, these warships were divided into hundreds of teams, and rushed to all the planets where humans once lived. Obviously, when the fleet was resting, they did not give up monitoring humans, so they knew clearly that there were still humans on those planets, and their current action was clearly to completely exterminate humans, not sparing any of them. After entering the galaxy, the largest fleet consisting of two largest battleships, several medium-sized battleships, and thousands of small battleships flew straight towards the blue mother planet. Obviously, this main fleet was their trump card to give humans a fatal blow. The war quickly spread throughout the galaxy, and almost all planets with human beings were attacked one after another. However, those battleships did not attack those planets directly in space, although according to their firepower, it should only take a few medium-sized battleships to concentrate fire to destroy a planet. They all came to the flight orbit of the planet first, surrounded the planet with several battleships, and then sent small fighters to enter the interior of the planet to launch an attack. It was at this time that Wang Feng finally saw the races that came to attack humans, because as the camera zoomed in, Wang Feng followed them and entered the planet they attacked. This was a creature that Wang Feng had never seen before. They were also humanoid creatures. Even when he first saw them, Wang Feng thought they were devourers. Because their way of killing was almost exactly the same as devourers. When they slapped their palms on the human body, they would absorb the life of that person, causing the attacked human to age rapidly until death. But after watching for a while, Wang Feng understood that these creatures were not devourers. At least, they all had long hair over their shoulders, while devourers were all bald. Moreover, the bodies of these creatures were not composed of life energy, but were similar to the physiological structure of humans. Because they also had fatal places, Wang Feng saw with his own eyes that a human was killed directly after hitting one of these creatures with a beam gun in his hand. From this point of view, the life forms of these creatures did not seem to be more advanced than devourers. At least, devourers should not be easily killed with this kind of beam weapon. The humans hiding outside these planets fought fierce battles with the invaders who entered the planets to attack them. At this time, Wang Feng realized that the humans who entered these planets were all strong among humans. At least the strength of any one of them has surpassed the current Wang Feng. Although Wang Feng was watching the video and could not feel the life fluctuations from those people, from their fighting methods, Wang Feng knew that the strength of these humans far exceeded his own. Not only did they stay in the air longer than Wang Feng, but they were also able to change their flight direction without any help in the air. Although it can be seen that these humans sent to these planets by spacecraft are all strong, Wang Feng still does not understand what these people do. Because although they are very strong and have beam guns that far exceed the technology of Wang Feng and his planet, they still die one after another under the attack of these creatures. And their deaths are all exactly the same. They are all sucked out of their vitality, turned into human bodies, and left this world with an old face. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 632. The battle unfolded on every planet with humans. Humans and invaders fought fierce battles in their own homes. Since the perspective of the image was not controlled by Wang Feng, he could only see the battle on a peripheral planet. After entering this planet, a red number suddenly appeared in the sky above Wang Feng's upper right -48. Wang Feng didn't know what this number represented. He just glanced at it casually and focused his attention on the humans and invaders who were fighting. Although both sides of the battle were humanoid creatures, and the invaders also had long hair draped over their shoulders, Wang Feng could tell which was a human and which was an invader at a glance. The reason was very simple: the clothes on the humans were all the same style as the image that appeared in the underwater channel before, with white as the main color. The invaders' clothes were blue as the main color, and their hair was white, and it was obvious that their hair did not have the same function as human hair, or in other words, their hair, like the hair of Wang Feng's generation of humans, was purely for beauty. For some reason, up to now, all the humans Wang Feng has seen are yellow skin, black eyes, and black hair, and no humans of other races have appeared. The skin color of the invaders is the iron gray color that is very close to that of zombies, especially their eyes, which are similar to cat's eyes and look very creepy. Moreover, the strength of the invaders is also quite strong. Although they are inferior to those who stay on this planet, they have more numbers, and several attack one, so in the battle on the planet, humans are also at a disadvantage. Fortunately, the humans on this planet seem to just want to delay time, so basically they don't fight the invaders head on, but just hide and play hide and seek with the invaders. Moreover, Wang Feng also found that in the battle, their hair actually has a very strong effect. The long hair flying all over the sky looks very tough. When they are close, these humans do not use fists or feet to attack or resist, but use their hair. Wang Feng saw with his own eyes that when a human was close to the invader, his long hair directly wrapped around the invader. Less than a second later, he let him go and flew to other places. Although the invader wrapped by the hair just now was free, he had completely lost his breath of life. However, since the invaders had the help of small fighters, the humans on the planet died at a fast speed. But the invaders were not without damage. When some humans saw the fighters flying at low altitude, they jumped up directly, pierced the fighters with their black hair, and then exploded, dragging the fighters to death. Since the camera's switching speed of the image was very fast, Wang Feng could basically watch every battle. He carefully remembered the fighting methods of these invaders, because perhaps in the near future, they would also encounter these invaders. But if they really fought with these invaders, Wang Feng really had no idea. Apart from anything else, that huge fleet was not something they could fight against. Moreover, they only have one planet, and the humans here, and a galaxy, cannot resist the attacks of these invaders, let alone them. Wang Feng now suddenly remembered Duan Lei's explanation that the seal might be set by humans themselves, if the enemy of humans is too powerful, so powerful that it makes people despair. Yes, now Wang Feng looks at these invaders, he can already feel how desperate the humans who fled to his planet would be, and understand why they would set up a seal to suppress the strength of their descendants. If he knew there were such enemies, he might make the same choice to control the range of activities of his descendants. It would be best if they could never enter space, so that they could avoid being found by these enemies to the greatest extent. However, although he was desperate in his heart, Wang Feng was still watching the battle between these invaders and humans seriously. No matter what, even if he really encountered these invaders in the future, Wang Feng would never sit idly by. At least, he had to take the Hope base with him, like those of his kind on this planet, knowing that he could not defeat them, but he had to deal with them. Even if he died, he had to try his best to make his enemies pay the greatest price. While watching the battle, Wang Feng found that the number was constantly decreasing, from 48 to 47, 46, 45. When the number became 10, 80% of the humans on the planet had died, and the remaining humans were still dealing with the invaders. However, due to the reduction in the number of people, their death rate has now slowed down, and it is more difficult for the invaders to find them. But it seems that these invaders are not in a hurry, and they are very patient to play hide and seek with these people. But if this hide and seek fails, the price to pay is that you will die in extreme pain. Although Wang Feng has not experienced this kind of pain, he has seen the performance of other humans when number 7 devoured them. It can be said that just watching can make him feel a little creepy, let alone experiencing it personally. When the number became 5, there were very few humans left on Wang Feng's planet, but at this moment, the camera suddenly switched to a location on the planet. It was an underground building on the planet. As for how deep it was underground, Wang Feng didn't know, he just knew it was very deep. In the bottom floor of the building, which was the deepest room, there was a strange device that looked like a detonator. On the detonator, there was something similar to a timer, which displayed a number -5 hours 38 minutes and 45 seconds. And the number on it was still decreasing rapidly. Seeing the format of this number, Wang Feng finally understood what this red number represented. This number represented time. The original 48 represented 48 hours, and now, there were only more than 5 hours left, so the number became 5. As for what would happen when this number returned to 0, Wang Feng didn't know. If he hadn't seen the detonator and timer on this planet, Wang Feng might have thought that when the time returned to 0, this video would disappear, and he would return to the underwater cave again. But with the timer on this planet, Wang Feng knew that this number was definitely not that simple, because this number was synchronized with the number on the timer. And since that number appeared, it was obvious that time had not passed for Wang Feng for 48 hours, at most half an hour. In other words, the time of the red number that appeared was synchronized with the time of the image, not with the time of Wang Feng, so it should represent what would happen in this image when the time returned to 0. After showing Wang Feng the timer, the camera switched again, and Wang Feng returned to outer space, and this time, he saw the situation of the mother planet directly. The mother planet is also under attack now. Like other planets, those huge warships directly trapped the mother planet, and then small fighters entered the mother planet to attack the humans inside. But this time, the camera did not switch to the interior of the mother planet to let Wang Feng see the battle in the mother planet, but instead pulled the camera away again so that Wang Feng could see the entire galaxy. As the image zoomed out, Wang Feng suddenly discovered that all the planets with human life were marked with numbers by this image, and they were all the same. There were also 25 planets without humans, which also showed this number, and this number was now 1 hour 29 minutes and 55 seconds. There is still an hour and a half left. What will happen? Wang Feng murmured softly, and then began to communicate with Tiankai in his heart. Tiankai, what do you think will happen after this number returns to 0? Number? What number? Tiankai's voice was very surprised. Ah! Wang Feng was stunned. Could it be that Tiankai could not see the image he saw? No. Tiankai had completely merged with himself, and what he could see, Tiankai should also be able to see. Tiankai, what can you see now? Wang Feng asked. What do you see? It's dark, I can't see anything, I just feel like you are standing there like a fool, not moving, for more than a minute. Tiankai's tone was still very impolite. More than a minute. Wang Feng was shocked. Even if he used his own time to watch the video, it should have taken several days, right? Why did Tiankai say it was only more than a minute? but he saw that the time was about to return to zero. Now Wang Feng had no time to think about it. He put everything aside temporarily and focused on the blue mother planet in the galaxy that was under attack. At this time, the battles on other planets seemed to be coming to an end. The small fighters that entered the planets also began to return to the space battleships. At this time, the series of numbers finally came to an end and became midnight. Just when this number became a string of zeros, the entire galaxy suddenly shook violently. All the planets with numbers suddenly exploded without any warning. The space battleships parked in the orbits of those planets had no chance to dodge at all and were directly turned into nothingness by the huge shock wave. And, because it was a direct explosion of the planet, a chain reaction was immediately triggered in the galaxy in front of Wang Feng. Those planets that did not explode also changed their running direction because of the instant loss of gravity, and began to run irregularly in the galaxy. Although the distance between each planet is quite far, there are still a few planets that collided with each other, causing more violent explosions. Among all the planets with humans, the only one that did not explode was the humans' home planet, but it suddenly shrank at the moment when other planets exploded, becoming only 1/3 of its original size. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 633. In the universe, even if a star explodes accidentally, it may bring disaster to the galaxy where it is located, not to mention that now, hundreds of stars exploded at the same time, which is absolutely a devastating disaster for this galaxy. All the stars in this galaxy were attracted by the energy turbulence caused by the explosion of those stars, and all left their orbits and flew around, just like the double color balls in the lottery process, jumping around everywhere. And the two invader fleets in the galaxy were overturned and torn apart one after another in the violent energy turbulence caused by the destruction of the galaxy, like canoes in the stormy waves. Their ship bodies, which are more than 10 kilometers long, are simply insignificant compared to those stars. The energy shields of their ship bodies also lost their due function at this moment. Although the mother star, which is also in the center of the galaxy, has shrunk to only 1/3 of its normal size at this time, it is still a relatively large celestial body in the entire galaxy. Affected by its gravity, 3 uninhabited planets that were pulled out of their orbits by the energy collided with it at the same time. The collision of several planets triggered the energy that pushed the already precarious galaxy to the brink of destruction. The entire galaxy was completely destroyed in a violent turbulence. Wang Feng stared at the void in front of him in amazement. The original location of the galaxy was now empty. Under such a huge energy impact, everything was completely destroyed. Planets, warships, small fighters, humans, invaders, have been completely destroyed with the disappearance of the galaxy, leaving no trace. In front of Wang Feng, there was only endless void, and the pure black seemed so pure. Then, the scene changed again, and Wang Feng returned to the cave again. The surroundings were still pitch black, but it was completely different from the black that Wang Feng saw a second ago. The darkness now is just complete darkness, while the black just now is black that can be seen with the eyes, a pure black, which is very different from the current one. Wang Feng did not light up the flashlight, but just stood there blankly. He had never thought that the final result would be like this. The humans in that galaxy did not escape as he imagined, but chose the most tragic way to perish with the enemy. Now Wang Feng also understood why those planets where humans had lived before left some powerful humans. Because they knew that the invaders were monitoring their every move from a distance. The purpose of those people was to use themselves as bait to attract the invaders' warships to the vicinity of the planet, so as to take the opportunity to destroy those warships with the explosion of the planet. Although their previous sacrifices lost any meaning because of the destruction of the entire galaxy in the end, Wang Feng was sure that before the explosion, they did not know that the explosion they caused could achieve such a terrible consequence and directly led to the destruction of the entire galaxy. This kind of thing must be the first time for the humans in that galaxy to do it. After all, no one would experiment to detonate a planet to see how powerful it is, especially when more than 100 planets were detonated at that time. Although Wang Feng admired the decision of those humans and their will to die rather than surrender, this result shocked him even more. The entire galaxy was destroyed, and everything was turned into nothingness by the huge energy. Then, since all humans died, how did the humans on their planet come from? Where did the humans who left this image and this mysterious portal come from? Wang Feng saw it clearly just now. At that time, those planets almost collided with the mother planet at the same time. The terrifying explosion caused the planets on the edge of the explosion to be instantly destroyed, not to mention the mother planet at the center of the explosion. Wang Feng was sure that the blue planet that gave him an extremely intimate and familiar feeling had turned into nothingness together with the galaxy, including all the humans on it. Wang Feng stood there for a long time before he really woke up. He took out a flashlight and illuminated the scene in front of him. The scene in front of him was still the same as when he just arrived here. The only difference is that the mysterious energy is still there, and the water in the passage is still pushed away, so there is no water in the passage where Wang Feng is now. "Where are you?" Wang Feng asked, but after waiting for a long time, there was no sound. Wang Feng hesitated and walked to the door. The image that had just appeared did not appear again. Although he had told Wang Feng before that he wanted Wang Feng to understand the origin of the human race and the glory of the human race. But after watching that image, although Wang Feng did have a better understanding of the human race, but he had more questions in his heart. Because no matter how he looked at it, the image told him that humans had been completely extinct. If that was the case, where did he come from? How did this planet appear? How was this place and that image placed here? Without figuring these out, how could Wang Feng be willing to leave? Now Wang Feng even forgot his original real purpose, which was to find a way to unlock the seal in his body. Wang Feng raised his hand, put a finger directly into his mouth, bit a small hole with force, and then gently touched the door with his finger, smearing his blood on it. Because of what the person formed by the image said before, Wang Feng finally got a little bolder and dared to touch the door with his own hand. Since this door was really left by humans in ancient times, as long as he didn't force the door, he shouldn't be hurt. However, the following situation surprised Wang Feng a little. He originally imagined that this door should at least absorb the blood he smeared on it, and then maybe something would happen again. After all, before, Wang Feng didn't dare to touch this door easily, so he cut his hand and let the blood from the wound approach the door through water. In this way, his blood was diluted, and the concentration was naturally reduced a lot, but even such blood made this door start to absorb it and projected that image. Now that he smeared his blood directly on it, this door should have some reaction. But after the blood was smeared on it, the door did not move at all, even the blood smeared by Wang Feng was not absorbed, as if this door was just an ordinary door. Looking at the door in front of him that did not react and was still closed, Wang Feng could not help but feel a little disappointed, but the mystery in his heart had not been solved, so Wang Feng was not going to give up. So, next, Wang Feng began to observe the door carefully, and soon, Wang Feng found several very small holes on the door. These holes were on the right side of the door, probably at the height of Wang Feng's shoulder. The small holes were very small, Wang Feng counted them, there were 12 in total. After carefully checking the entire door, Wang Feng finally confirmed that there was nothing worth noting on this door except these small holes. Squatting down and studying these small holes for a while, Wang Feng suddenly had an idea. He remembered the humans he saw in the video before, their hair could be freely controlled by humans. Although that image looks quite strange, if you think about it carefully, such ability is quite terrifying. How many times more efficient would a human with such ability be than the current human? Humans of Wangfeng's generation can only use both hands to work, 2 hands, 10 fingers. And how many hairs are there? About 100,000. If this ratio is converted into work efficiency, how big will the difference be? And human hair is indeed quite strange. Among all the creatures in the world, only humans have this kind of hair that has no function at all but never stops growing. What is the use of hair? Protect the head? Can it replace the human skull? That is the hardest part of the human body, and it is used to protect the human brain. If hair can really play a protective role, then some beauties with long hair can use their hair to protect their buttocks. Even when humans die and all body functions stop, human hair can still continue to grow, and the number of hairs reaches the upper limit at the moment of human birth, and there will never be more hairs. After watching the video, Wang Feng finally understood that it was not that human hair did not exist, but that it had lost its function for some unknown reason. At least, in Wang Feng's opinion, hair should be a very important organ for the humans he saw in the video. Since this door was built by those people in ancient times, the function of these small holes is naturally clear. They are the keyholes of this door. And the key, of course, is human hair. After thinking about it, Wang Feng pulled out 12 hairs from his head with his hands. There was no way, his hair did not have the same function as those of humans. These small holes seemed to have a certain depth. Fortunately, Wang Feng had not found a barber shop during this period, so his hair was very long, which should be barely enough. After pulling out the hair, Wang Feng picked up a strand and carefully inserted his hair into a small hole. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 634. Wang Feng put his hair into the holes one by one. Wang Feng looked very cautious. When the 12 hairs were put into the 12 holes, Wang Feng took a step back and then looked at it expectantly. That door. Waited for a while, nothing happened. Wang Feng couldn't help but frown, then stepped forward again and inserted all the hairs one by one to the bottom of the small hole. This time it finally worked. The door in front of him glowed brightly again, and then a person condensed by a beam of light appeared in front of Wang Feng. Holy crap! It turns out you have to push it all the way out before it can come out. Wang Feng muttered in his heart. The image formed this time has the same attire as the previous person, but the appearance is slightly different. It is no longer the same person, and it should be a woman. Only then did Wang Feng understand why the door in front was not opened. If anyone understands this, it means you are dirty, God. And the image this time was not like the previous image, it was just a photo, because Wang Feng discovered that after this image appeared, the woman turned around and looked at her surroundings, and then turned around and looked at Wang Feng. Young man, you are very good. The projection looked at Wang Feng and smiled sweetly and said, this woman's facial features are quite exquisite, especially when she smiles sweetly. To describe her as magnificent and charming, not only is it not excessive at all, but it makes people feel that these two the adjectives are a bit feeble. You can see me. Wang Feng was surprised, and he didn't expect that his guess turned out to be true. Of course. Since you can activate the previous photo, you can still live to see it, and you can also find a way to activate me, which proves that you may have a chance to get the qualifications to enter this door. This projection laughed. You can call me Tian Tian. Day by day. Wang Feng was stunned. Then he asked. You just said that I might have a chance to get the qualification to enter this door. Didn't you come out to open the door for me? Of course not. Tian Tian shook his head and said. There is a big secret involved in the door. Even if you are a human, you can't get in until you reach a certain level of strength. Moreover, I am just a projection now, and I don't have the ability to open this door for you. If you want to open this door, you must rely on your own abilities, because after entering, you will be able to understand everything, including all the information about our human race and the ghosts of the universe. If you do not have enough strength, after entering, you may be punished because of you know too much and bring real disaster to the human race. But, Wang Feng said doubtfully, I saw that photo just now. Aren't humans already extinct? Even the home planet and the entire galaxy have disappeared. Could it be that the video I saw is not true? This is not what you should be concerned about right now. Tian Tian shook his head and said, the image you saw is real, and that image only gives you some understanding of our human race and our enemies. However, although I can't say much about the human race, I can tell you in detail about our enemy, the cosmic ghost. Then, can you tell me how we should unlock the seal in the body? Wang Feng asked tentatively. Although Tian Tian said that he could tell him in detail about the enemies of the human race, the cosmic ghosts, Wang Feng believed that the cosmic ghosts must be the white-haired cat-eyed intruders he saw in the image in front of him. But Wang Feng doesn't want to know this right now. For him, what he wants to know most at the moment is whether the mother planet has been destroyed, and how humans came to this planet in such a desperate situation. Now that Ji Tian said that he couldn't let him know too much for the time being, Wang Feng remembered the most important thing for him when he came here this time, so he asked directly. Seal. After hearing Wang Feng's words, Tian Tian was stunned. What seal? Wang Feng was also stunned. Didn't she know? Could it be that the previous guesses of myself, Duan Lei and others were wrong? Isn't the seal in the human body set by humans themselves to protect future generations? That is. So Wang Feng told Tian Tian that there was a mysterious force in all human beings on this planet, suppressing them and preventing them from fully exerting their strength, as well as their speculations. Listen. Haha. Your imagination is really very rich. You can actually imagine that in order to protect our descendants, we, the human race, set a seal so that our descendants cannot exert their full strength. After Tian Tian heard this, she laughed softly. Then, a serious expression suddenly appeared on her beautiful face. She looked at Wang Feng and said, Junior. Remember. The situation you guessed will never happen among the human race. Our human race is a proud race and a powerful race. Before the ghost of the universe appeared, we could even be regarded as the rulers of this universe. When facing the enemy, we humans always have only one choice: fight. No matter how powerful the enemy is, whether we can defeat him or not, we must fight him. We can be patient for the time being, avoid the enemy, and accumulate our strength. When the time is right, we can give our enemy a fatal blow. But we will never kill all hope of revenge because of fear, and let our descendants shrink away forever and never face the enemy again. We would rather our descendants die fighting our enemies than let them linger in a corner where the enemies will never find them. What's the point of leaving life after losing the glory of the human race? Our human race doesn't need such descendants. Human race. You must have the courage to fight any enemy. This is the human race. Tian Tian said categorically. The expression on his face looked quite decisive. Wang Feng nodded. He believed this. At least, in the image at that time, the human race he saw was indeed like this, whether it was the fleet that went to meet the invaders or those who were sent to it. The detonated planet to hold back the enemy's strong human race can completely prove this. Tianation's eyes fell on Wang Feng's hair on the door, and then, with endless sadness in his eyes, he said softly. As for the seal you mentioned, I know what's going on. Hearing Tianation's words, Wang Feng felt a chill in his heart. Originally, he thought that the seal was set by humans themselves. In that case, Tian Tian in front of him might have a way to unlock it. Now I know that all my previous guesses were wrong, which means, it is very likely that she is also powerless against the seal. Seeing Wang Feng's expression, Tian Tian seemed to know what Wang Feng was thinking, so he shook his head and said. As for the seal you mentioned, it's actually caused by our human race losing one of its most important abilities. I can't tell you how we lost this ability, but I can tell you what caused this seal. After Wang Feng heard Tianatian's words, he perked up. If he didn't know the method, it would be good to know the reason. You are saying that your current human race cannot exert its full strength because you lack the most important ability of human beings, the ability of hair. Tian Tian once again looked at the hair that Wang Feng had left on the door, and then looked at Wang Feng's hair that could barely reach his shoulders, and sighed softly. You have seen the photos, and you should know that our human race's hair has a special function, but the photos are photos after all, and you can't see the importance of hair to humans at all. For humans at that time, hair was our most important limb, even surpassing the limbs. Moreover, hair is also the place where we humans gather energy in our bodies, and due to some reason, our human hair has lost its function. This is like a space battleship. It has enough energy and powerful firepower and power, but its power system and firepower system are paralyzed. So no matter how much energy it has, there is no way to use it. Show your strength. This is what your current human race is like, because when we arrived on this planet, our hair had already lost its ability. Because of this, we have many abilities that we cannot use. Even piloting our spaceship is quite difficult. So, although we found that this planet is not suitable for human survival, we can only stay here because we don't know if we can find a planet more suitable for us. The seal you are talking about refers to a mysterious energy in your human body, right? You think that this energy suppresses your strength and prevents you from fully exerting it, so you think of it as some kind of seal. Wrong. Those mysterious powers belong to you, but because they need you to use them through your own hair, just like fuel can provide power, but it must be converted into power through an engine. It is the same reason. Wang Feng was dumbfounded by Tianatian's words. It turned out that the mysterious force that he and others thought was suppressing his own strength was not only not a seal, but a power belonging to human beings themselves. That's not right. I have already unlocked the seal. Why? Wang Feng suddenly remembered that Tiankai once said that his seal had been released, so why had the function of his hair not been restored? So he asked. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 635. However, when Wang Feng was halfway through asking, he couldn't help but be stunned, because Tian Tian had just made it very clear that the mysterious power in his body was not a seal, which meant that he did not have the ability to unlock it. Seal? There isn't one in the first place. How did you figure it out? But why did the mysterious energy in his body disappear? Since it belongs to you, even if you can't use it, it won't disappear, right? But, the energy in my body disappeared. Looking at Tian Tian, Wang Feng said calmly. What? Hearing Wang Feng's words, even Tian Tian was shocked. She shook her head and said. This is impossible. Apocalypse. Has the mysterious energy in my body really disappeared? Seeing Tianatian's reaction, Wang Feng suddenly felt that he was unsure, so he asked Tiankai again in his heart. I can't feel it anyway. Apocalypse answered affirmatively. Wang Feng nodded. Apocalypse had completely integrated with him. If he said he didn't feel it, then that mysterious power must have disappeared. Then why does this woman say it's impossible? Wang Feng asked again. He was surprised that Tiankai could obviously hear this woman's voice. Wasn't he surprised that he couldn't feel the power, but this woman would say it was impossible? What woman? Apocalypse's voice seemed a bit inexplicable. Can't you see? Wang Feng was shocked. What did you see? Wang Feng suddenly remembered that when he was watching the video just now, he seemed to have asked Tiankai, but his reaction seemed to be that he could not see anything, but he did not pay attention at the time. At this time, Tian Tian looked at Wang Feng and said. Why do you feel that the energy in your body disappears? Generally speaking, you should not be aware of that power. Although, if you can activate me, it means that you have reached at least the 7th level, but even so, you can't feel that power clearly. Unless your hair ability is restored, but looking at your appearance, I know that this is impossible. Can you tell me why hair is the most important limb of human beings? In what form does hair store energy? And if you can control hair freely, how do you control it? Wang Feng did not answer Tianatian's words. Instead, he asked some questions that he was very concerned about. He still didn't know much about hair, although Tian had just said that hair was very important to humans. Even after losing their hair, they could only barely pilot the spacecraft. It was easy for Wang Feng to understand this, because he had seen how humans of Tianatian's time operated the control panel. Presumably the control panel on the spacecraft should be similar to the one he saw first, the one with all the light spots on it. If the function of the hair is still there, there will be no problem in controlling the spacecraft, but the hair cannot be used freely. If you touch it with your hands, regardless of the size, just the dense light spots require 10 fingers to operate. This in itself is a very difficult matter. And now Wang Feng is suspecting that his energy has not disappeared. It may have returned to his hair. It's just that he doesn't know how to control his hair, and his length is not enough, I mean the length of his hair. That's why this happens. Regarding Wang Feng's problem, Tian did not hide it. She seemed to have seen Wang Feng's thoughts, so she directly explained to Wang Feng. In the image, you should have seen that humans in our era could freely control their hair, and it was not just used to operate various instruments. Of course, operating various instruments is one of the most important functions of hair, and because it is closest to the brain, it is also the fastest to receive instructions. And the hair we had at that time was quite strong. A single hair could break a person's neck, so it was often used in battles. But the most important function of hair is to store energy. In other words, hair is actually the source of power for us humans. When Wang Feng heard this, he suddenly felt a familiar feeling in his heart. It seemed that he had heard the sentence somewhere before, hair is the source of human strength. If Duan Lei is here, he must be able to think of Samson, a character in the book of Judges in the Bible. It is said that Samson's strength comes from his hair, and in the end, he was cut off because he was betrayed by a woman. Hair, causing him to be captured by his enemies. Most of the life energy of our human race's strong men is stored in their hair. Each hair can store a considerable amount of energy, so those strong men can continue to fight for a long time. As for hair control, it's just like using your own hands. As long as the function of your hair is restored, you will naturally know how to use it. After listening to Tianatian's words, Wang Feng felt frustrated. It seemed that his hair had not recovered at all, not because it was not long enough. Seeing Wang Feng's expression, Tian asked. You haven't answered me yet, how do you feel the energy in your body? Wang Feng was a little hesitant, because if he told the truth, Tiankai would be exposed, but if he made it up, if Tian could find some method in this regard, then he would have missed an opportunity. Don't worry. I'm not a real person, I'm just an artificial intelligence left by the human race at that time for my descendants. If I were a real human race, I would be able to sense that in your body without you having to tell me. Has the energy disappeared? Seeing Wang Feng's hesitation, Tian couldn't help but laugh. Moreover, I am the same as the image you saw before. Only descendants of real humans can see me and hear my voice, so you don't have to be afraid that I will leak your secrets to your enemies. Besides, I can't leave here at all. I don't think any other human being can get here and activate me except you. After hearing Tianatian's words, Wang Feng suddenly realized why Tiankai couldn't see the images Tian and himself had watched before. And this Tian is not a real human being, but just an artificial intelligence. Wang Feng glanced at Tianatian's beautiful face again, and secretly cried out that it was a pity, but since Tian had said so, he should be able to tell her about Tiankai's existence. In fact, the fact that I own Apocalypse is no longer a big secret. I hope that many people in the base know about it. But after all, Wang Feng had only seen her for less than an hour every day. Naturally, he had to hesitate to tell her about Tiankai. Okay. Actually, it's nothing. It's just that there is a weapon in my body, and it's through him that I sense that the energy in my body has disappeared. Well, in fact, it's not through him. It should be said that he sensed it. Yes, then tell me. Wang Feng summoned Tiankai, held it up for Tian Tian to see, and said, "Huh." Tianation's eyes lit up when he saw Tiankai, but then he became a little confused, but he immediately said to Wang Feng, "Quick! Tell me everything you got about this thing and everything about it. If it really is that thing, the human race will really be saved." At the end of the day, Tian Tian, the artificial intelligence, actually had a trembling voice, as if Apocalypse was something very important. Although Wang Feng felt strange, but after seeing Tianation's expression, he recounted his experience of receiving the Apocalypse from beginning to end, and also explained the functions of the Apocalypse, as well as the affairs of Apostle John and Li Yingning. Say it all. Wang Feng didn't have much doubt about the Tian Tian in front of him, because in the previous image, the mother planet did give him a familiar feeling. Moreover, Apocalypse has now been completely integrated with himself. He is already the last master of Apocalypse. Even if he tells all this and some monster rushes out of the door, he can't even think of taking away Apocalypse. After talking about Tiankai, Wang Feng looked at Tian Tian and asked, "Is the devourer who is coming to our planet now the ghost of the universe?" Although Wang Feng also feels that the devourer is very different from the cosmic ghost, after all, the two still have something in common, such as they can absorb the vitality of the human body, and they are both enemies of mankind, etc. Wang Feng is even sure that even if the devourer is not the cosmic ghost, it should be related to the cosmic ghost. Perhaps the cosmic ghost is the mastermind behind their speculation. No. The devourer you are talking about should be a war weapon created by the cosmic ghost to help them plunder other planets. Although the population of the cosmic ghost is very large, the universe is even bigger, so they also need someone like the devourer. Creatures to help them find their enemies. Tian Tian shook his head slightly and said, looking a little absent-minded, as if he was thinking or remembering something. "Is the cosmic ghost huge?" Wang Feng asked. In the image just now, the two space fleets that invaded the human galaxy were all wiped out in the destruction of the galaxy. Although Wang Feng knows that there may be other fleets that have not come, but he does not know how many cosmic ghosts there are. Maybe these creatures will become his enemies in the future, so Wang Feng naturally has to care about their number. Wang Feng did not answer Tian Tian but seemed to be thinking about something. Seeing this, Wang Feng stopped disturbing her and just stood aside and waited quietly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 636. Tian Tian was silent for a long time this time, as if she still couldn't confirm it. She originally thought that Apocalypse was what she imagined, but after learning that Apocalypse was the Devourer Prince, he was thrown to the Kali tribe, and was later taken by the Kali tribe. After arriving on this planet and finally falling into Wang Feng's hands, she began to doubt her own judgment again. Because that thing is the most important treasure of the cosmic ghost race, how could it be left with the Devourer? Isn't this completely unreasonable? But Apocalypse is very similar to the description of the thing she heard. Logically speaking, if it is a replica, it should not have such magical functions. But after hesitating for a while, Tian Tian suddenly figured out why he had to worry about whether Apocalypse was such a thing. As long as it can achieve the effect of something like that, isn't that enough? May I have your name? Tian Tian raised his head, looked at Wang Feng and asked. Wang Feng. Wang Feng looked at Tian Tian and said, he didn't know why Tian Tian suddenly remembered to ask his name. Wang Feng? Which Feng? Hearing Wang Feng's name every day seemed a little surprising. Ugh. Gale wind. Wang Feng gestured with his hand to make the wind blow and said. Unexpectedly. Your surname is Wang. Tian Tian smiled and said. You know, your name is the same as a person I know. That person is also named Wang Feng, but he is the wind of the mountain. Wang Feng was stunned, a little confused as to what Tian Tian meant. You have seen that person before. He was the first pilot to fly his plane into the Space Ghost battleship. Tian Tian looked at Wang Feng and said. Okay. Let's not talk about this. Now, I want to tell you something. You'd better remember it firmly. Good. Wang Feng looked at Tian Tian and nodded solemnly. I have heard the legends about this weapon of yours. If those legends are true, maybe you will be able to open this door soon. Tian Tian looked at the door and said. There are two ways to open this door. One is to use your hair, but it is not the method you used just now, but you can really control your hair. This method, for you now, there shouldn't be much hope. The other thing is that you can improve your strength by another level to reach the standard of an 8th level creature. This should be quite promising for you. Although I can't feel your aura, I know that you should have level 7 strength now, because only when you reach level 7 can you activate me. And the blood stains left on the door let me know that you have not reached level 8, because if you reach level 8, you are qualified to know the secret hidden in that door. When you reach level 8, your blood will be drop it on the door and it will open. Why do you have to go to level 8? Is there a big difference between level 7 and level 8? Wang Feng asked with some confusion. You will know this yourself after you go in, and I won't explain it to you now. Tian Tian shook his head and said, then looked at Tian Kai who was still held in Wang Feng's hand and said. Now it's time to talk about this, apocalypse. You said before that your strength has been stuck and unable to improve, so you regarded the mysterious energy in your body as some kind of seal. In fact, this is correct. Ah. Wang Feng was a little dumbfounded. Is this Tian Tian crazy? Just now, I said that this power is not a seal, and now I say it is. What is going on? The reason why you were unable to improve your strength before was indeed because of that mysterious power. As I said, that power was originally supposed to be stored in the hair. All energy in the human race is controlled by it. So, we call it, the source of energy. But because your hair has lost its ability, the source of your energy will be transferred to your body. If the ability of hair is not lost, then the source of energy will gradually grow, and your strength will slowly increase. However, because of the loss of the ability of hair, the source of energy in your body will not grow at all. That's why you felt like you couldn't improve your strength before, because if you want to improve your strength, you have to increase the concentration of life energy in your body. But because all the life energy in the human body was mobilized by the source of energy, when the life energy in your body exceeds its control range, it will refuse to accept any more life energy. This is a protective mechanism of the human body, because if there is too much energy in the body, an uncontrollable situation will occur, resulting in physical damage or even explosion and death. That's why I said that you are right when you say that the source of energy is the seal that suppresses your strength, because it is indeed the reason why your strength cannot be improved. And your brain development only reaches 10%, not because of the suppression of the source of energy, but because the dormant 90% of your brain was originally used to control hair, and now the hair has lost its function, they naturally fall into dormancy. As for what you said, the rest of you humans are stuck at level 4, but you are able to break through level 5. I think it should be because you have obtained something that can enhance your life. In the process of fusing it, the energy in your body, the source, has also been strengthened. That's why you are stronger than others. As for Xiao Wu you are talking about, it is because he is no longer a pure human being. Due to changes in his physique, he has suppressed the source of energy in his body, causing if it can no longer function, it will naturally improve its own strength. According to what you said, this source of energy has now become an obstacle that restricts us. Wang Feng couldn't help but interjected and asked. Of course he knew what the life-enhancing thing Tian Tian mentioned was, and it must be the life core he got. Of course not. Tian Tian shook his head. It may not matter to the person who transformed into a zombie body, but for you, losing the source of energy is definitely not a good thing. Although I don't know where you are at level 7 now, I'm sure that if you don't get the source of energy back, you may never reach level 8. Hi. Wang Feng took a breath of air, but he knew that Tian Tian was right. He was now at the peak of level 7. Tian Kai once said that since he had unlocked the seal, he could break through at any time as long as he had enough life energy in his body. But Wang Feng had tried it a long time ago. There was no shortage of life energy for Wang Feng now. However, after he used a few bottles of life potion on himself, he found that there was no life energy in his body at all. Increase. Wang Feng thought that during the breakthrough, the potion made by Apocalypse would not work, and he could only rely on the life energy obtained from killing other creatures to improve himself. Now it seems that this is not the case at all. But, my source of energy has disappeared, how should I get it back? Wang Feng asked depressedly. Haha. No need to get it back. Tian Tian shook his head and smiled. Your source of energy has not disappeared, but because you seem to have experienced something before, the energy in your body suddenly burst out for a moment. The source of energy could not be suppressed, so you hid temporarily. Ah! Hiding. Wang Feng was stunned. Does this source of energy still have autonomous consciousness? Of course not, but, as I said, the real place where the source of energy resides is not in the human body, but in the hair. Tian Tian shook his head and said. When the energy in your body explodes, the source of energy is directly absorbed by your Apocalypse. Because Apocalypse and you have been completely integrated, and the structure within Apocalypse may be similar to hair, that's why this situation occurs. You just said that this Apocalypse had changed its weapon spirit before, and the combination of this weapon spirit and Apocalypse may not be so perfect. In addition, what he sensed was only your body, and he didn't notice his own, so he didn't notice it. Even if Tian Kai and you have been completely integrated, they are still different from your body. Just like human hair, all the energy is stored in the hair, and the human body can use it at any time, but strictly speaking, this energy, and it is indeed not within the human body. That's why I said you are likely to be eligible to open this door, because although the function of your hair still cannot be restored, but now you have Apocalypse as a substitute. Although it is not as perfect as your own hair, it at least gives you hope to attack level 10 creatures, and even reach the legendary breakthrough level 10. What you have to do now is to absorb as many energy sources as possible. The more, the better. As long as the number of energy sources is enough, your strength can be improved almost without limit. Ah! Where can I find so many sources of energy? Wang Feng said in surprise. It's easy. Tian Tian smiled and said. Any real human race has a source of energy in their body. If you go back to your tribe and absorb the source of energy in their body, you can not only increase the number of energy sources in your body, but also make the ones that limit their strength the factor disappears. Isn't this just killing two birds with one stone? But, don't you mean that without the source of energy, once your strength reaches a certain level, there is no way to improve it again? Wang Feng asked blankly. If he really did this, it would be equivalent to limiting the strength of others to the peak of 7th level creatures forever. Can he, Wang Feng, really do such a thing? Oh my god, are you a pig? Tian Tian rolled his eyes in a very humane manner and cursed with hatred. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzu. Chapter 637. Hearing Tianatian's words, Wang Feng was stunned, and at the same time he was a little angry. He just didn't want to kill other people's promotion path for the sake of his own strength improvement, but he didn't expect to be scolded. Humph. Let me ask you, how many apocalypses are there? Seeing Wang Feng's expression, Tian Tian curled his lips and asked with disdain. Wang Feng was stunned. Of course there is only one. That's it? Tian Tian smiled. Because you have apocalypse, you can replace the hair of the human race and help you store the energy in your body. Others don't have it. Instead of letting their energy source stay in their bodies and become a shackle for them to improve their strength, it's better for you to absorb it and enhance your strength, and at the same time let them get rid of this shackle. You also said that they are now unable to reach the realm of level 5 creatures due to the shackles of the energy source, and after you absorb the energy source in their bodies, they can at least reach the peak of level 7. Although they may never have the possibility of progress again, it's at least better than now, right? And according to you, the Devourer is about to arrive on this planet. If their strength cannot be broken through immediately and they die in this war, then no matter how great their potential is, what's the use? And I only know part of the secrets in this door. You should know that this door was left by the ancestors of the human race. If you know everything inside, maybe you can truly restore the former glory of the human race. Humph. Someone like you who is so fussy and has so many concerns can actually become the protagonist. If I write a book, you can only live for 2 chapters at most. Looking at Tianatian's disdainful expression, Wang Feng was embarrassed, but after being scolded by Tian Tian, he also figured it out. Tian Tian was right. Except for himself, other people did not have a carrier to store the source of energy, so the source of energy became a shackle for them to advance. If I absorb the source of energy in their bodies, although it will make them lose their potential, at least they can be much stronger than they are now. In a word, it is more disadvantageous than beneficial. Well, I understand. But how do I absorb their energy source? Doesn't your apocalypse have the function of absorbing energy from other creatures? Now the energy source is inside apocalypse, so he can distinguish between life energy and energy source. You just need to use the way apocalypse absorbed energy before. Tian Tian thought for a while and said. Because your apocalypse will only absorb the life energy in a creature when it causes fatal damage to it, so now you just need to cause a wound in their unimportant parts. After hearing what Tian Tian said, Wang Feng nodded to Tian Tian and said. Thank you, Tian Tian. I know what to do. Since you go back. I'll go first. I think I'll be back soon. By then, I'll have the ability to enter this door. Haha. Go. Tian Tian smiled. To be honest, I'm also very curious about the secrets in the door. I hope to follow you to see it. I'll wait for you. Wang Feng nodded, and then turned around and returned to his way without delay. On the way back, because the information he got before was too shocking, Wang Feng kept recalling that video, which made his way back home not so lonely. Even Tian Kai was a little surprised. Why didn't Wang Feng chat with him like he did when he came here? After leaving the Black Dragon River, Wang Feng flew directly into the air, and then gently landed on the Black Dragon Bridge. Then, without any pause, he flew directly to the Green Water Garden in the surprised eyes of several Black Dragon Bridge guards. Back to the Green Water Garden, Wang Feng was surprised to find that not only Lu Feng and his team had returned, but even number 7 had been rescued by instructor Li Yingning. In fact, it was very simple for Li Yingning to rescue number 7. After he arrived at number 7, he just separated a little of his consciousness again, and then used the energy block on the ground to fuse a Devourer's body, letting him replace number 7, and successfully rescued number 7. Seeing number 7, Wang Feng finally relieved himself of one of his worries. He stepped forward and hugged number 7 hard, and then nodded heavily to number 7. "Welcome back." Number 7 just nodded in the same way, but the gratitude in his eyes could be seen by anyone. Number 7 originally thought that he had to die there, but he didn't expect Li Yingning to appear and directly create a devourer to replace him. Moreover, it may be because of his action this time that he was recognized by Li Yingning. Li Yingning even gave a trace of his consciousness core directly to number 7. Number 7 is now equivalent to the level of the nest guard among the devourers, which is already the top status among the devourers. After all, there is only one prince, and below the prince is the nest guard. If it weren't for the limitation of the devourer gene, the prince could only have one, and perhaps number 7 could directly reach the height of Li Yingning. But even so, number 7 has now reached the strength of a level 9 creature. Apart from Li Yingning, he should be considered the highest combat power in the Hope base. From this, we can also see how powerful Li Yingning is. At least number 7 is definitely no match for him now. However, this cannot be said to be a good thing, because the strength of the instructor also confirms the power of the devourer's nest, and the devourer happens to be the enemy that Wang Feng and the others have to face. After meeting Duan Lei, Wang Feng directly asked Duan Lei to issue a summons order throughout the base, summoning all members of the Hope base. Soon, the square in front of Bishui Garden began to become crowded with people. The point was that there were too many people and the square could not accommodate it. Therefore, more survivors came to the party through the farm's loudspeaker. When everything was ready, Wang Feng took a deep breath, then stepped forward, picked up the microphone, and told all about his experience in the underwater passage. Wang Feng did not tell Lu Feng and others about his previous experience first, because he did not intend to hide this matter. Since it was information about humans, in Wang Feng's view, all humans should have the right to know. Anyway, Tian Tian didn't have the right to tell him that the images he had seen before should be kept secret, so Wang Feng simply told everyone about the whole thing. After listening to Wang Feng's story, the entire square fell silent. Even Duan Lei and Lu Feng were stunned by Wang Feng's words. We are actually such a powerful race? And the most important thing is our enemy so powerful? After 10 minutes of silence, Duan Lei was the first to come out. He walked directly in front of Wang Feng and stretched out his arm with a calm expression. "Bring it on." Wang Feng looked at Duan Lei, and Duan Lei also looked at Wang Feng. When he saw that Wang Feng was still hesitant, Duan Lei smiled. "Madman. That Tian Tian is right. According to our current situation, this is the best way. If you don't absorb the source of energy in our bodies, it will only restrict our strength. Come on. Madman. Even if there is no benefit, I don't mind letting you take away my source of energy. You represent the hope of mankind." As soon as Duan Lei finished speaking, all the core members of the Hope base, plus the soldiers of the Guardian and Hope Legions, came to Wang Feng and stretched out their arms. Wang Feng didn't speak again. He didn't want to say anything pretentious anymore. "Thank you everyone for your support. I will remember your efforts, and so will mankind. Since this is the best way, then do it yourself, as long as you have a clear conscience and no need to look forward or backward." With a wave of his arm, he summoned Apocalypse, and then Apocalypse inserted into Duan Lei's arm. On the way back, Wang Feng had already communicated with Tiankai, and Tiankai had also found the energy source that came to him, and also knew how to absorb the energy source from other people's bodies. In fact, it is very simple. As long as the blade of Apocalypse is inserted into a person's body, and the person does not deliberately resist, Apocalypse can directly absorb all the energy sources in his body, and the speed is quite fast. In less than a second, Apocalypse can absorb all the energy sources in a person's body, but unfortunately, as if it were a hole, Wang Feng had asked Apocalypse to leave some energy sources in each person's body. But after absorbing the source of energy in Duan Lei's body, he discovered that this was simply impossible to do. Either not absorb it, or absorb it all. It is impossible to absorb some and leave some as Wang Feng imagined. In this case, Wang Feng stopped thinking about it and just did it. Anyway, as Tian Tian said, since human hair has lost its function, now that the source of energy remains in the human body, not only there is no benefit, but it limits human development. Next, there are Lu Wanting, Lu Feng, Tang Haoshan, Gui Weivue. It took a full 6 days before there was no one in front of Wang Feng. The entire Hope Base, including all the survivors, all came to Wang Feng voluntarily and allowed him to absorb the source of his energy. Moreover, after absorbing the source of energy in these people's bodies, an unexpected scene appeared for Wang Feng. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 638. The first person to stand up and let Wang Feng absorb the energy source in his body was Duan Lei. As Wang Feng's comrade before the end of the world, he undoubtedly trusted Wang Feng the most, and he even knew Wang Feng better than Lu Wanting. Since Wang Feng said so and was going to do it, Duan Lei certainly understood that this might be the best choice Wang Feng could make at the moment. At the moment when Tian Kai pierced his body, Duan Lei did not feel any special pain, but he clearly felt that something in his body was rapidly flowing out. Because of Wang Feng's explanation before, Duan Lei knew that this should be the energy source in his body. This process was quite short, lasting less than a second, and it was over. Then, Duan Lei suddenly felt that a huge amount of life energy was pouring out of his body and spreading out crazily. Boom! As if the arcade character he played when he was a child had blown up the gas meter, a shock wave suddenly erupted from Duan Lei's body. The core members and soldiers of the two legions who were waiting for Wang Feng to absorb the energy source in his body were stunned at the same time. Duan Lei's momentum was constantly rising, breaking through from the peak of level 4 to level 5, followed by the middle, late, peak of level 5, and finally rushed to the peak of level 6. As expected, Tian Tian was right. Because humans have lost the function of hair, this energy source has now become a shackle for human strength improvement. Now that the energy source in Duan Lei's body has been absorbed, the life energy accumulated in his body has suddenly lost its suppression, directly impacting Duan Lei's strength to the peak of level 6. Although there is still a level gap with Wang Feng's current peak of level 7, no matter what, if other people in the Hope Base can also appear in Duan Lei's situation, then the overall strength of the Hope Base will directly produce a qualitative leap. Originally, when dealing with the Devourer, all of them were considered awakened, equivalent to the Guardian Legion soldiers of the 4th level biological strength, and they were already able to fight across levels, and they still had a certain advantage in front of the Devourer, who was at least the 5th level biological strength. If their strength can all be improved to the peak of level 6, then it will be easier to fight against the Devourer. And now Duan Lei's strength improvement has undoubtedly injected a dose of stimulant into the entire Hope Base. Originally, these core members and the soldiers of the two legions only stood here and waited for Wang Feng to absorb the source of energy in their bodies out of trust in Wang Feng. Now seeing that there are such benefits after absorbing the source of energy, they can't help but get excited, and their faces are full of expectations. Tang Haoshan directly pulled Lu Feng, who was in front of him, away, and stood in front of Wang Feng, saying excitedly, "Crazy! Come to me first, after I improve my strength, I will compete with Lao Lu first. I let him always suppress me, and this time I will get all the previous ones back." Wang Feng shook his head helplessly. Fortunately, Tian Kai's absorption of the source of energy does not need to last for a period of time like absorbing life energy, but can be completed almost instantly, so he did not refuse and directly stabbed Tian Kai into Tang Haoshan's arm. Afterwards, Wang Feng was like a doctor injecting a vaccine into a student, constantly stabbing the apocalypse in his hand into the arms of people he knew or didn't know. Every person whose energy source was absorbed by Wang Feng had their strength improved to varying degrees. Lu Feng even rushed directly to the late stage of level 7, allowing Tang Haoshan, who had reached the peak of level 6, to experience what it meant to be in a situation of 30 seconds east and 30 seconds west. A few days later, almost all the people in the Hope Base stood in front of Wang Feng. They might not want the energy source in their bodies to be absorbed by Wang Feng before, although Wang Feng had said that since the function of hair had been lost, this energy source was useless to them now. But people are selfish after all. Even if I don't use it, I don't have to give it to you. Even if you put it at home, it's okay. After all, as a human being, as long as you pay, you will feel that you are at a disadvantage. It has nothing to do with what you pay and whether it is useful to you. However, because of the examples of those core figures and the two legions, some survivors who originally did not intend to stand out also began to waver, and finally stood out. After all, each of those people directly improved their strength after being stabbed by Wang Feng's apocalypse. This happened in front of them and it was not fake at all. What is the most important thing in the end of the world? Strength. As long as you are strong, you can infinitely increase your chances of survival. Now that there are so many examples in front of me, I hope that no one in the base will fall behind, and they will all gather together, hoping that they can also be absorbed by Wang Feng. The source of energy in the body. As for what Wang Feng mentioned before, losing the source of energy will cause your strength to reach a certain level and never improve, which has been automatically ignored by them all. No one knows what level you can eventually reach. If you die in the attack of the devourer who is about to attack, what's the use of having potential? It's like saying to a pauper, I will give you 10 million now, but this means that your future worth will only be 10 million and cannot be increased. I bet that out of 100 people, there will definitely be 120 people who agree to take 10 million, including those who are watching the fun. Because the absorption process was very fast, Wang Feng had actually completed the absorption of the core characters and the soldiers of the two legions in less than 2 days. However, as more survivors joined their queue, Wang Feng did not stop after completing the absorption of these people, but continued to absorb all the energy sources in these survivors. However, these survivors are not like those before who immediately increased their strength after Wang Feng absorbed the source of energy in his body. Wang Feng knew in his heart that this was because both the soldiers of the two legions and the core members such as Lu Feng had all used his own medicine. They were able to improve probably because the potion that he used on them before was not completely evaporated due to the suppression of the source of energy. Now that I have absorbed the source of energy in their bodies, they have all improved to varying degrees. As for the ordinary survivors in these hope bases, because they have not used potions, they do not have accumulated energy in their bodies, so of course they cannot improve. Especially after several survivors who had redeemed potions also showed signs of improvement in strength, Wang Feng became more certain of his guess. However, Wang Feng did not tell the truth and just continued his actions. Since it was discovered that not all ordinary survivors could improve their strength after being absorbed from the source of energy, and the chance was quite small, those survivors began to doubt this method, and their enthusiasm continued to subside. So, after a period of time, some people began to withdraw from the team, no longer prepared to let the sharp-looking long knife in Wang Feng's hand open a hole in their arm. Wang Feng didn't say anything and let those people retreat. If you want to get something, you have to pay. Even if you want to win the jackpot, you must at least buy a lottery ticket, right? Not wanting to give anything is like a pie falling from the sky. Even if it does fall, it will definitely be moldy and stuffed with leek and eggs. Wang Feng didn't care, but Du and Lei, the core members and the soldiers of the two legions had gone to find a place to adapt to their strength long after their strength improved, so naturally no one noticed those who quit. After 6 full days, there was finally no one in front of Wang Feng. All those who were willing to let Wang Feng absorb the source of energy from their bodies had completed their tasks. And those who are unwilling to stand in front of Wang Feng, take a knife, and give Wang Feng the source of energy in their bodies that is basically useless to them are basically those who came to Hope from Tiandu City. Base. It hasn't been long since they came to Hope Base. Although they think Hope Base is indeed good, their trust in Wang Feng is still not as good as those of the previous survivors. After completing his work, Wang Feng looked at the survivors who looked disappointed because they had not improved their strength, and smiled softly. Okay. All done. Wang Feng grabbed the microphone and said inside. Let me ask one last question, are there any left? After looking around him and confirming that no one stood up again, Wang Feng said into the microphone. I know that there are many people who have not improved in strength because I absorbed the source of energy in your body. The reason is very simple, that is, you have not redeemed my potion before. Losing the source of energy can indeed unlock the limitations in your body, but if your original strength is like this, then increasing the upper limit of your strength will naturally be of no use to you. Those survivors who had not been improved suddenly realized it, and there was excitement on their faces, because if it was because of this, wouldn't they be able to improve their strength if they worked hard for a while? Even though it's a little late, there is still hope. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 639. Seeing the expressions on the faces of these survivors, Wang Feng shook his head and chuckled. Then, he spoke into the microphone and said something that made these survivors extremely excited. Everyone. I am very grateful for everyone's trust in me. After all, although Chapter 638 national promotion is of no use to you, and will only hinder the improvement of your strength, I am still very grateful to everyone for trusting me. In the Hope Base, as long as you put in the effort, you will be rewarded. So, now, all those with strength below the awakened level, please continue to line up and come to me. I will initially distribute potions to enhance your strength. Enhancers will get evolution potions and awakening potions, and evolvers will get awakening potions. All these potions do not require points. I just want to let you know that your previous efforts are not unrewarded. Oh! Long live! The head is so cool. Ha 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 ha. I said it. As long as we are true to our enemies, we will never treat us badly. You idiots. Do you regret it now? Ha 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 ha. Quick, quick, quick. Get in line. Don't be too crowded, damn you, you stepped on my toes. The emotions of the crowd in front of Wang Feng were instantly aroused by Wang Feng's words. They all started cheering loudly, and then they formed a long queue consciously. Everyone. Please note that only the person who I just absorbed the source of energy is eligible to receive his potion. If I find anyone who wants to fish in troubled waters, don't blame me for being rude. Okay. Now, the potion distribution begins. After Wang Feng shouted into the microphone again, he threw away the microphone and began to distribute potions. Perhaps because of Wang Feng's last sentence, among these survivors, there was no one like what Wang Feng had said before, who clearly had not absorbed the source of energy by Wang Feng and was trying to come in and mix a potion. After the survivors lined up, Wang Feng took care of them and told them not to move their positions. Then he activated the blast, circled around the crowd, and collected their blood. These survivors can be considered to be close to 20 million people. If they come one by one, Wang Feng may have to come again for 6 or 7 days to complete. That's why Wang Feng adopted this method. Anyway, these people have immediately gained strength in emergency medicine. It is estimated that even if they are allowed to stand for a month, they will be willing to do so. Now, a week has passed since Wang Feng returned. According to Li Yingning, when he rescued number 7, he found that he did not have the ability to extend the time for the wormhole to be completely open again. In other words, in less than 20 days, the Devourer army will come to their planet through that wormhole. In this case, he might as well improve the strength of the Hope base this time, because Wang Feng didn't know how long it would take him to return to the underwater cave again. It is very possible that the Devourer army has already arrived before he comes back, so now he can only try his best to improve the strength of the Hope base, hoping that they can persist in front of the Devourer for a while longer. When Wang Feng said that all those who had absorbed the source of energy could get the potion, those survivors who had not absorbed the source of energy for Wang Feng suddenly felt regretful. But now they don't dare to step forward to queue up anymore, because the bloody-handed butcher is back. If they cause trouble for themselves, who knows whether that guy will go crazy. It took another 3 or 4 days for Wang Feng to distribute all the medicines for more than 10 million people. Fortunately, most people did not join, otherwise, the apocalypse points in Wang Feng apocalypse may not be enough for these survivors. After finishing his affairs, Wang Feng finally breathed a sigh of relief. He looked back at Lu Wanting, who had been by his side, and smiled guiltily. Wang Feng knew that he owed Lu Wanting too much, but he had no choice. He didn't even have time to be intimate with her now. He doesn't need to worry about the survivors who got the potion, but he has to leave now and go to the underwater passage. Although he has consumed a lot of apocalypse points in the past few days, he has rushed himself to level 8. The realm of living things is definitely not a problem. Wang Feng didn't attack now because he didn't have time now. When he entered the underwater passage, he had plenty of time to use. Now Wang Feng must allocate all his time and not waste any time. He has less than 20 days in the underwater passage, not counting the time he will lose behind the door. Just going back and forth, it will take almost 10 days. Wang Feng still thinks that when the Devourer arrives, he can hope to enter the base, so he will return to the underwater passage now. Lu Wanting also knew this, so after her energy source was absorbed, she did not leave. She just stood quietly behind Wang Feng and looked at him silently. Ting ting. I'm sorry. I have to leave again. After looking at Lu Wanting, Wang Feng said sadly. Wind. Go. I look forward to when you come back. When you come back, you will step on the 7 colored clouds and wear a battle robe. Lu Wanting looked at Wang Feng and said. No matter whether this dream can come true or not, whether the beginning and the end are as I imagined, I will know. You are my man. No matter when, no matter what the situation, I will wait for you. Wang Feng nodded to Lu Wanting. Our ending. It will be just like you imagined. Tell Lazy Eye and the others that I'm leaving and wait until I come back. After saying that, Wang Feng ran towards the Black Dragon Bridge without looking back. He didn't dare to look back because he was afraid, once he turned back, he might not be able to leave today. Lu Wanting looked at Wang Feng's back with hazy eyes and said softly. I'm waiting for you. After arriving at the Black Dragon Bridge, Wang Feng did not go into the water directly. Instead, he first absorbed the source of power from the Hope warriors who stayed behind at the Black Dragon Bridge, and then jumped into the water. I seem a lot more awesome. A Hope warrior guarding the Black Dragon Bridge looked at his companion and said. Humph. Nonsense. We are all awesome, and we have the head. We can't do it even if we don't want to be awesome, right? Another Hope warrior said. In the water, Wang Feng started his lonely journey again, but this time, after entering the cave, he let Tiankai transfer all the remaining life energy into his body. Fortunately, this kind of transportation does not require falling into a deep sleep like using the awakening potion, so Wang Feng can do this while traveling. Apocalypse had absorbed too much life energy in Bizhu continent before. Although he had consumed a lot in Zizhu continent, and in the past few days, Wang Feng had also used up a lot of apocalypse points in Hope Base, but the remaining life energy, for Wang Feng himself, it is still quite huge. When a huge amount of life energy poured into his body, Wang Feng's whole body suddenly erupted with strong energy fluctuations. He was originally at the peak of level 7, and now with such a huge influx of energy, he was certainly promoted smoothly. It is hoped that the energy sources of more than 10 million people in the base will be absorbed by Wang Feng. Such a large amount of energy sources will even be enough for Wang Feng to reach level 10 or above. However, there is not so much life energy in Apocalypse. If Wang Feng had not distributed a large number of awakening potions at the Hope base, he might have had the opportunity to reach level 10 or even higher. But now, this life energy is only enough for Wang Feng to reach the 9th level peak, and he cannot even reach the 10th level. However, Wang Feng did not regret his decision. After all, Hope Base is his route and it can improve Hope Base's overall strength. Wang Feng will definitely not be stingy. When Tiankai reluctantly told Wang Feng that his Tiankai points had been exhausted, Wang Feng just asked him if he had reached the level of an 8th level creature. When the answer was yes, the stone in Wang Feng's heart fell to the ground. For him, as long as his strength reaches level 8 and he has the qualifications to enter that portal, the rest is not important to him. When he returned to the portal again, Wang Feng was surprised to find that Tian Tian was still there, looking at Wang Feng with a smile on his face. "You have been here all this time?" Looking at Tian Tian, Wang Feng asked blankly. "Of course. I am disposable. If I disappear, there will be no way for me to appear again." Tian Tian looked at Wang Feng and smiled. "All right." Wang Feng nodded and said, "I think I should be qualified to enter this portal now. Can I enter now?" "You forgot." Tian Tian shook his head. "I can't feel your strength, so to know whether you can pass or not, you can only try it yourself. Go over now. Drop your blood on the door. If it opens, you have met the requirements. If not, then you may still need to go back the way you came. Call." Taking a deep breath, Wang Feng strode to the front of the door. Then, he bit his right index finger with his teeth and opened a gash. Then, he smeared his blood on the door. Above. Brush. After the door absorbed Wang Feng's blood, it suddenly lit up. Then, with a clear sound, the door gently slid aside, showing everything behind him in front of Wang Feng without reservation. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 640. Wang Feng looked at everything inside the door in confusion, then turned to look at Tian Tian, who spread his hands. "Don't ask me. I don't know either." Wang Feng turned his head again and looked behind the door. There was nothing behind that door, an empty small room, only about 4 square meters in size, with not even a table in it. To say that there is any secret here, why not say that Wang Feng is already at level 10 now? It's almost like a section of the passage. How could there be any secrets? However, after taking a lot of effort to open the door, Wang Feng still walked in, intending to check if there were anything left by ancient humans inside. After Wang Feng entered, the portal closed automatically, and then the room began to descend. Nah. Elevator. Wang Feng was depressed. In fact, this small room does look like an elevator, but who has ever seen an elevator door that opens outward like a door at home? Shouldn't it be separated to both sides? Wang Feng's depression did not last long, because the elevator quickly stopped running and reached his destination. Watching the elevator door open, Wang Feng shook his head and smiled bitterly. If it hadn't been for this prodigal door, maybe he wouldn't have made such a fool of himself. However, when he saw the scene in front of him, Wang Feng couldn't help but froze. Outside the elevator, there is a very empty hall. The hall is filled with various instruments, and there are countless humans in front of the instruments, constantly operating these instruments. Wang Feng couldn't help but widen his eyes as he looked at the humans with their hair flying up and down and constantly operating the instruments. What is going on? Could this be the base where the first humans arrived on this planet? Those human races back then are still alive now? Just when Wang Feng was surprised, a person suddenly appeared in front of him. He first looked back at the scene that surprised Wang Feng, then turned back and said to Wang Feng with a smile, "Don't be surprised, these are just projections." After shaking his head gently, the man looked back at the busy humans and said as if reminiscing, "When we arrived on this planet, the function of our hair had already been lost. The purpose of leaving these images is to remind us of our previous lives. What year is it now?" After finishing his emotion, the man looked at Wang Feng and asked, "This year? It's 20817. Wang Feng replied subconsciously, "Huh. More than 20,000 years have passed." The man raised his head and said with infinite emotion, "I think back then, when we arrived here, we never thought about whether we could stay on this planet for 10 years. I can't believe it. It actually took so long for one of our descendants to break through the 8th level and come to this place we have prepared for you for a long time. Are you, also an artificial intelligence?" Wang Feng looked at this person and asked, "This person is different from Tian Tian. Tian Tian is made of light, but this person is real." But since he said before, more than 20,000 years have passed, so this person is probably not a real person. No matter what, it's impossible for humans to live more than 20,000 years, right? AI. The man was stunned for a moment, then shook his head gently and said, "No. I'm not an artificial intelligence. At least, I'm different from Tian Tian." Then the man shouted softly into the air to his left, "Tian Tian! Come out! Stop hiding! Come out, come out!" Tianation's voice sounded, and then her image appeared in front of and to the left of this person. "My thing. Maybe if I let Tian Tian explain it to you, it will be easier for you to understand. After all, I have been sleeping for too long and I am not very suitable for your current era." After seeing Tian Tian, the man pointed at Tian Tian, looked at Wang Feng and said. Wang Feng looked at Tian Tian, and Tian Tian first looked at that person, then looked at Wang Feng, shrugged his shoulders, shook his head and said, He is not a complete artificial intelligence. At least, he is not purely made by humans like me. He was the leader of the human race at the time. He gave up his body and merged his consciousness. The chip that is inserted into a robot makes the robot have a certain degree of human thinking. So, he is now the leader of the human race, but his body is made of machines. How many of these robots could they have made at that time? Wang Feng suddenly pointed at the person in front of him and asked, "What's the meaning?" Tian Tian is a little baffled. "I mean, since they can preserve their consciousness, doesn't it mean that they are still alive? If they can make more of these robots and preserve their consciousness, doesn't it mean that they are all still alive now?" Wang Feng pointed at this person and said, "Moreover, you can even create such advanced robots. If General Officer's technology were given to us casually, we might have found a way to live on other planets by now. Just like what I saw in that image before, in this galaxy, our planet should not only be able to support human survival, there must be other planets that are also suitable for us. If we had found other planets, maybe we wouldn't be forced to be like this." The Kali tribe launched a world-destroying sky fire, which brought the Earth into the end of the world, and then it was the darkest period that tests human nature. "Hey! What are you talking about?" Tian Kai said angrily. "This is the leader of the human race, and is this something a little kid like you can teach you?" "Okay, Tian Tian. He has never experienced it and will not understand our thoughts." The man waved his hand and said, "Okay. Little guy. As for your previous idea, that we all survive with the help of robot life forms, we haven't thought about it, but in the end basically everyone rejected this suggestion. I don't know if you can understand, but in fact, I already regret staying, seeing our descendants, and giving them some advice. I don't think you will understand. When you stay here underground for 20,000 years alone, waiting for this door to open every day and one of your descendants to walk out of it, you have never experienced this kind of loneliness. It is absolutely unimaginable for people. Can you imagine a situation where a person can play rock paper scissors with his left and right hands for tens of thousands of years? It seems ridiculous, but this is indeed the only game I have played in more than 20,000 years. Entertainment. Okay. Let's not talk about this anymore. It's hard to see someone. I have to complete my mission first. I'll talk about other things when I have time. Having said this, the man waved his hand directly to Wang Feng and said, "Come with me." Wang Feng walked out of the elevator and followed this person to a set of large screens. "Does this look familiar to you?" This person turned on the screen, pointed at the pattern on it and said, "That's right. This is our galaxy, the Yanhuang Galaxy. You may have discovered that in the period of influence you saw, all the people were of the yellow race, and there were no other races. That's right. Because the Yanhuang Galaxy is the territory of our yellow race. All people are descendants of the Yanhuang race, and our home planet is named, the Star of China." Having said this, the man's hair floated up, and after a few operations on the control panel in front of him, the screen began to switch, and turned into a galaxy map that seemed to be similar, but somewhat different. "This is the English Galaxy, this is the beautiful Sister Galaxy, this is the Hungry Snail Galaxy, this is..." This person kept introducing, and at the same time, he kept switching the pictures on the screen. "Mate, can I ask, what should I call you?" Wang Feng couldn't help but ask. "Fuxi. Human Emperor Fuxi." When this man said his name, there was a look of pride on his face. "You can just call me Fuxi. Or you can call me Third Master. Because I rank third among the 3 emperors." "Fuxi." Wang Feng was stunned. "Isn't he the Fuxi I heard about? Do you, really exist?" "It says it exists, but it probably doesn't exist." Fuxi sighed softly. "After we came to this planet, we left behind our descendants, and then..." etc. Wang Feng quickly interrupted Fu 11. "I saw that video. Can you tell me what happened to our home planet after those planets collided?" After watching that video, Wang Feng has always been worried about the mother planet that gave him a very familiar feeling. From the depths of his heart, Wang Feng. Of course our home star is still there. As long as we humans are still there, our home star will be fine. An indescribable glory appeared on Fuxi's face. "The reason why we didn't let you know in the first place is because we were afraid that you would reveal the secrets of our mother planet. If you could not defeat the cosmic ghost and leak the location of our mother star, then our mother star might be destroyed. Now, you have reached the realm of an 8th level creature. That is to say, when you want to die, you can destroy all your memories. That's why I will let you in, and I will also let you in. Tell you everything about human beings. I have been waiting for this day for too long, a full 20,000 years. Now I have finally waited for you. Next, don't speak and listen to me carefully. I will only say it once. This may be related to the fate of our human race. Continue, you'd better not interrupt. If you can take notes, I think I will appreciate you more." Looking at Wang Feng, Fuxi said with a serious face.